breaking news story out of Texas. A gunman opens fire at an outlet mall just north of Dallas. Police confirm at least 8 innocent people are dead. Another 7 have been wounded. Shoppers forced to evacuate with their arms in the air as officers search for that shooter, who would later be shot and killed himself. ABC's Jim Ryan has more from Dallas.
A massive police response after gunfire erupted at an outlet mall in Texas.
We got shots fired at the mall. We got people running.
One of our officers was on an unrelated call at the outlet mall. He heard gunshots, went to the gunshots, engaged the suspect, and neutralized the suspect.
Hundreds of shoppers were escorted out of the Allen Premium Outlets just north of Dallas Saturday afternoon. Many seen walking with their hands above their heads.
There's this guy dressed in all black, wearing a vest, has an assault rifle, and he's just shooting at people.
The shooting occurred at about 3:30 p.m. local time, with numerous victims taken to the hospital.
Found 7 deceased individuals on scene. We transported 9 individuals to the hospital, to area trauma facilities. Of those that we transported, 2 have since died, 3 are in critical surgery, and 4 are stable.
As the situation unfolded, the city issued a public safety alert warning residents to stay away from the area. Multiple agencies are on the scene to assist in the investigation, including the FBI and ATF.
We have a multi-agency response helping us work the scene. They helped us evacuate the mall. We've set up reunification areas.
Investigators believe the gunman acted alone.
And we don't believe that there's another threat at this time.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued a statement saying, "Our hearts are with the people of Allen, Texas tonight during this unspeakable tragedy," adding that he's offered local authorities the full support of the state. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Allen, Texas.
We're going to begin with that rally in a growing, complicated controversy. And Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim in Brooklyn.
He was a human being. Where is the love?
The raging debate continues to burn tonight, fueled by the fatal subway chokehold gone viral. What to do or not to do when confronted with homelessness combined with a mental health crisis when rider safety may be at risk.
What kind of standard are you setting when you do that?
Yeah.
Are people going to be able to start choking out every homeless person?
Protesters at the Barclays Center calling for accountability as Manhattan prosecutors consider charges against the 24-year-old former Marine Corps sergeant seen in this cell phone video choking 30-year-old Jordan Neely for several minutes. Freelance journalist Juan Alberto Vasquez recorded the incident. He says Neely boarded the Uptown F train Monday in Soho, screaming and ranting aggressively.
Started yelling violence, language. I don't care if I die, I don't care if I go into jail.
Vasquez says it didn't appear to him that Neely intended to harm riders and that he didn't attack anyone before he was jumped from behind and placed in the chokehold. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide from compression of the neck. Police questioned and released a 24-year-old whose name has not been made public.
New York City is not Gotham. You can't take the law into your own hands and choke someone to death who's having a mental health crisis.
Congressmember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, meanwhile, declared it murder and has been sparring with Mayor Adams for saying we cannot have people with severe emotional illnesses on our subway system. The governor today weighing in, calling the incident disturbing.
Holding him down until the last breath was snuffed out of him, I would say was a very extreme response.
Neely had panhandled as a Michael Jackson impersonator in the past. This is Neely asking for donations on April 1st. He had been arrested more than 40 times for assault, disorderly conduct, and fare evasion, the latest for randomly punching a 67-year-old woman.
There are many layers to this, so let the process follow its course.
The NYPD is asking for any additional witnesses to come forward. The Marine Corps veteran has retained attorney Thomas Kenneth, who ran for Manhattan DA against Alvin Bragg in 2021 as a Republican. Kenneth has been in touch with law enforcement and with the DA.
Taking down several gentlemen here. Now at 11, chaos underground in New York City. A subway station overtaken by protesters demanding justice for Jordan Neely, who died after being placed in a chokehold by a Marine veteran, Daniel Penny. Eyewitness News reporter Morgan Norwood on the platform. The group first marched through the streets of Midtown as reaction to Neely's death continues to intensify. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandra Bookman. Joe has the night off. We are following two breaking stories tonight, including a mass shooting in Texas that left 8 innocent victims dead. But we're going to begin with that protest on a subway platform in Manhattan. Demonstrators demanding justice for Jordan Neely. He's the 30-year-old who died after being put in a chokehold on a subway train. Eyewitness News reporter Morgan Norwood was live as protesters were escorted out of the 63rd Street Lexington Avenue station this evening. The situation tense and heated. Now, police were called to the platform as some of those demonstrators jumped onto the subway tracks. Morgan Norwood followed that demonstration for blocks through Midtown Manhattan until it came to that standoff underground.
As the blaring headlights of a stopped subway car beamed beyond the tunnel, dozens of demonstrators stood on the tracks, bringing both the Q train and the F train, the same line that Jordan Neely died on, to a halt. You can't stop the revolution! We were live on the air as protesters piled onto the platform at 63rd and Lexington. They stood in the doors of the train cars, stood in the faces of police officers, and then fists started flying. Police officers began taking down and arresting demonstrators. One by one, we were watching as protesters were carried out in handcuffs. Right here. But as officers made their arrest, a line of cops locked arms, bracing themselves against the crowd and the escalating tension. One officer injured as he was escorted away. Within an hour, the crowd did disperse, but quickly reassembled above ground on 63rd Street, and there were more arrests. It took multiple officers to constrain this man, even in handcuffs, spitting on cops. And as chaotic as the protest ended, it didn't start that way. It's the same crowd that marched through Midtown Manhattan midday as they demanded Daniel Penny, the former Marine seen in this video putting Neely in that chokehold, be arrested.
He's a murderer, and it's a shame.
Protesters carrying signs, others wearing shirts, and some carrying deep grief.
This is a public funeral.
And some say it's a public crisis. This incident now renewing the debate over mental illness and subway safety.
It is devastating, and it was absolutely preventable. And the city and the state have failed us again.
And NYPD confirms there were multiple arrests but have not released the number. FDNY says at least one person was taken to the hospital, another treated and released here at the scene. As for this case, the death of Jordan Neely, it will likely go before a grand jury next week to determine if charges will be filed. I'm Morgan Norwood, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Now, this all started on the F train on Monday. Neely was described as acting aggressively towards passengers before being put in that chokehold. Tonight, reaction from attorneys representing Daniel Penny, the Marine involved. In a statement, his attorney wrote, when Mr. Neely began aggressively threatening Daniel Penny and the other passengers, Daniel, with the help of others, acted to protect themselves until help arrived. Daniel never intended to harm Mr. Neely and could not have foreseen his untimely death. And Neely had a tragic and troubled past. His mother was brutally murdered. The 30-year-old had been arrested more than 40 times, and he had a history of mental illness. This incident renewing the debate over mental illness and public safety. Earlier today, Reverend Al Sharpton addressed the matter.
This man had a mental issue, and the way you handle that is not to put him in a chokehold and squeeze the life out of him.
This case, again, raising even more questions about how to deal with people struggling with mental illness. We hope you will join us Wednesday evening at 5:30 for City in Crisis Mental Health Emergency on Channel 7.
The longest since 2007 on the radio. Thanks for supporting our online shows on the air. Online. Thank you for listening. And thank you for watching iPower Channel 2. In the tri-state area. We are One Nation under Urban Music. One Nation Experience. Your iPower One media connection. Stay with iPower One.